Hi, this is Dana with TD Binks, and today I would like to talk about looking for real estate. We just had an eye-opening experience. We're thinking about getting out of Dodge and finding a little quiet place out in the country. And since I lost my job due to COVID, there's no reason to stick around here anymore. So anyway, so we went on a fact-finding trip after looking through Zillow and finding some places that we wanted to look at. And first of all, I'd like to say that our agent was great, and so this is nothing bad to say about him. The listings that we asked to see were not his listings, and so when he saw them for the first time like we did. But one of the things that, I wanted to say a couple things, is that if you ever look on Zillow or Realtor.com or any place like that, don't ever buy property, house or land, sight unseen. Don't buy it through the internet. You need to go out and you need to look, because there's stuff going on out there that you're gonna be shocked. And I've heard of people buying stuff without checking it out first in person, and they're sorry to this very day. But so we found some places that we wanted to go look at, and found this one place and thought it was isolated. Well, it was 2 miles of powdered limestone, and it's so hot and dry there that it was just like talcum powder. I mean, the realtor was in front of us in his vehicle, and we could not even see. It was so much dust, and I can't believe the people that lived down there, because their houses were covered with dust, their cars were covered with dust. And there was a lot more people that lived back there than what I thought. But anyway, we got to this place, and it turned out it was up a hill, and I figured it was up some kind of a grade, but we have a little car, and our car scraped going up the driveway, so that would have been something to have to take care of. And the things in the pictures are not as big as they appear. So we were a little surprised about how small this place was. And it was a foreclosure, and it had a lot done to it. Everything in it was new, and new stove, refrigerator, laminate flooring, dishwasher, furnace, water heater, everything in it was new. And it was like, this is kind of neat. We found it was a pole barn house is what it was. And we found out in looking upstairs through the rafters, there was not an upstairs, but looking up in the rafters, that there had been no ventilation put in for the roof and the attic space, and so it was developing moisture, which probably would have caused black mold in the long run. And then we're out walking along the property, and the realtor says, well, there's 10 acres. And I said, well, I didn't think there was 10 acres, because the ad on Zillow said that there was 5. And he goes, oh, well, let me check that. Well, it turns out that it was 10 acres, but they had divided it into two 5-acre plots, and the second 5 acres was behind the property, which, if we'd have bought the 5 acres in the front, the back 5 acres would have been landlocked. So whoever owned that, I don't know how they would even get to it, to tell you the truth. And unless they worked out a shared driveway agreement, which doesn't always work out. So that kind of nixed that place for me. There was another place we looked at, said it was built in 2007. Long 15-acre long driveway, back pond on the left-hand side. Get back to this house, and I'm like, foundation's all cracked. Walk in, there's no windows in the living room. Mouse poop everywhere. No appliances. It was not built in 2007. In fact, Mr. Binks found a crawl space and looked in there and found that the wiring was still wrapped in paper insulation like they did back in the 50s. And then another part of the description said, you know, it came with a septic and well. Well, we found the septic, but we couldn't find the well. So the realtor called the agent that had it listed, and they go, oh, it's a shared well. Really? So the guy up the hill has the well, and so if something goes wrong with it, or he gets mad at us or something for some reason, you know, it wasn't listed as it actually was. You know, it wasn't built in 07. Didn't have a well. And I got into the biggest mess of chiggers that I'm still suffering from, and this was last week. So chiggers are part of the territory when you move out in the country. You just need to be prepared for them. And seeing how I lived in that area before, I should have known better, but it's been a long time. So we looked at another house that was probably the nicest house that we ever saw. I mean, it was really a sweet house. But here was the problem with it, is that if you sat on the front porch, you got to look at the neighbor's crap hole across the street. And if you sat on the back porch, you got to see the crap hole that was behind it. I mean, when I sit down with my cup of coffee in the morning, I don't want to be looking at somebody else's crap. Otherwise, it was probably the most beautiful house that we looked at. If we could have picked it up and moved it over to someplace else, that would have been a plus. Trying to think of some of the other places that we looked at. The one that probably had upset me the most was it was out in the country, 3 acres, dirt roads getting back there, and got out of the car, and it was just gorgeous. It was a double wide mobile home. Beautiful on the outside. The property was beautiful. It was surrounded by cow pastures, had a pond on it and stuff. And when we went inside this double wide, something didn't look right. And it seemed to me that all the floors were all sagging towards the outer edges of the mobile home. And there were some really squishy places in it. And I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. We didn't know if it was water damage or termites or whatever. And so I took a video of it. And later on, after we had left there, I looked at that video again, and I figured out that we were sitting in a bowl. All the land around us was coming down to that area, and there was a ditch there, and the ditch ran behind the house. And what we figured out is that property, that whole mobile home, had been underwater at some time, and it damaged the entire floor, 1,400 square feet. And I told the realtor, and this is something else. If you're looking at property, the seller has to fill out a form. It's called a full disclosure statement, and they won't show it to you unless you ask for it. And it is written out by the previous, by the seller, and it's on file with the realtor. So I contacted the guy, and like I said, our realtor had not listed that property, so he didn't know these things. And I said, that property has been underwater. And he goes, well, it's not in a floodplain. And I says, well, it doesn't necessarily have to be in a floodplain. However, it's been underwater. I can tell by all the rot throughout the floor. It's a shame because it was such a beautiful place. And so he sent the full disclosure, and it turns out that the people that had bought it, that were now selling it, had bought it without knowing that it had been underwater, and they were dealing with all kinds of problems with black mold and rotted floors and stuff like that, and they had put a lot of money into this place just trying to fix it up. They had replaced the entire floor in the master bedroom, which was the only floor in the whole place that was not squishy when you walked on it, and so they had replaced that. But they really made major improvements on the outside of it. It had all new siding on it and everything. It was gorgeous from the outside, but you have to watch for these things. It's a game. I mean, what they list on the real estate's description is not necessarily what you're going to see when you get there, unless you ask for the full disclosure statement from the seller. Now, I might be wrong on this. When we were in a different state than what we live in here, and I don't know if that's a thing that they have to reveal that to you, but down there they didn't have to reveal that to you unless you asked for it. So that's a smart thing to do, because you are going to see what was going on with that property before you buy it, or what improvements had been made on it, or all this other stuff. So I hope we're still looking, and we're a bit wiser about what was going on, and just wanted to pass this on to you and save you a lot of grief. So that's it for today. Be blessed. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hi, you know what? Before I let you go, I wanted to tell you about a friend of mine, and he just recently started a private investigation business, but he has years of background in law enforcement and such. And when I give you his website, you can see for yourself. But what he is now going to start doing is investigating real estate, and help people keep from making the mistake that we almost made in looking at that one piece of property that had been flooded. And he not only goes back to the seller's disclosure, but the seller before that and the seller before that. So it's a thorough investigation, and I would like to mention him. I trust him with everything that I am, and his website is Chief, CHIEF, Oliver, OLIVER.com, and you can check him out. And if you have any questions, just contact him through the website, and maybe he can help you out and help you keep from making a terrible, costly mistake and end up with some crap hole that he even investigates the neighbors around. He goes above and beyond, so you might want to check him out. So with that, I will let you go, and you all have a blessed day. Bye.